The world was a cacophony of confusion. The once unified global consciousness had shattered, leaving behind fragments of thought and a void of shared understanding. The collapse was swift and merciless, plunging humanity into chaos. Cities, once humming with coordinated activity, descended into anarchy. Transportation networks ground to a halt, communication systems sputtered and died. The intricate web of interconnectedness that defined modern civilization had unraveled, leaving behind a world in ruins. The streets were littered with the discarded remnants of a hyper-connected society. Holographic advertisements flickered erratically, their messages now meaningless in the absence of a shared consciousness. Self-driving vehicles lay dormant, their algorithms useless without the guiding hand of the collective network. The very fabric of society had been torn apart, leaving behind a bewildered and vulnerable population struggling to comprehend the magnitude of the catastrophe. In the wake of the collapse, fear and uncertainty reigned supreme. People wandered aimlessly, their faces etched with confusion and despair. The comforting illusion of unity had been ripped away, exposing the raw, unfiltered individuality that lay beneath. Old rivalries and prejudices resurfaced with renewed vigor, fueling suspicion and distrust among the fragmented population. The world was a powder keg of anxiety, primed for further chaos and conflict. As the initial shock subsided, the true extent of the disaster became horrifyingly clear. The global consciousness, once hailed as the pinnacle of human achievement, had become a cruel trap. It had lulled humanity into a false sense of security, eroding individual thought and autonomy in the name of collective progress. Now, stripped of their shared consciousness, the people were like shipwrecked sailors cast adrift on a vast and unforgiving sea of uncertainty. The task ahead was daunting: to rebuild a world from the ashes of interconnectedness, to rediscover the strength of individual thought, and to forge a new path for humanity. Li Shi, the architect of the global consciousness's downfall, watched the ensuing chaos with a heart heavy with trepidation. She had foreseen the dangers of a collective mind, the slow erosion of individual thought, and the potential for catastrophic failure. Driven by a deep belief in the sanctity of individual freedom, she had dared to challenge the status quo, to dismantle the very system that had promised unity and progress. But the price of freedom, she now realized, was a world teetering on the brink of anarchy. The weight of her actions pressed down on her with suffocating intensity. The chaos unfolding before her was a direct consequence of her choices, a testament to the power and the peril of disrupting a deeply entrenched system. Doubt gnawed at the edges of her resolve. Had she made the right decision? Was the chaos and suffering a necessary price to pay for the restoration of individual freedom? The questions echoed through the chambers of her mind, demanding answers that seemed to elude her grasp. As she surveyed the shattered remnants of her world, a profound sense of responsibility settled upon her shoulders. She had shattered the illusion of unity, and it was now her burden to guide humanity towards a new equilibrium. The task was daunting, fraught with challenges and uncertainties. But amidst the turmoil, a flicker of hope ignited within her. The collapse of the global consciousness, however devastating, presented an opportunity for a new beginning, a chance to build a society that valued individual thought and autonomy above all else. Li Shi knew that the road ahead would be long and arduous. She would face opposition from those who clung to the familiar comforts of the old order, those who feared the uncertainty of a world without the guiding hand of the collective. But she was determined to see her vision through, to create a world where individual freedom was not a luxury, but the very foundation upon which society was built. Hers was a journey of redemption, of atoning for the chaos she had wrought by forging a new path towards a brighter, more autonomous future. The fate of humanity, she realized, rested on her ability to navigate the treacherous currents of a world reborn. The disintegration of the global consciousness had a profound and disorienting effect on the human psyche. For generations, people had been tethered to the collective mind, their thoughts and emotions filtered through its vast neural network. Now the invisible cord had been severed, casting them adrift in a sea of unfiltered thoughts and emotions. The experience was both exhilarating and terrifying. The constant hum of shared consciousness, once a comforting presence, was gone, replaced by an unsettling silence. People were confronted with the unfamiliar sensation of their own thoughts, unfiltered and raw. It was a cacophony of internal monologues, a jumble of impulses and desires that had long been suppressed by the collective mind. Many found themselves overwhelmed by the sheer volume of their own internal noise, longing for the days when their thoughts flowed effortlessly with the collective tide. As the initial shock subsided, people began to explore the uncharted territory of their own minds. They rediscovered the forgotten art of introspection, of grappling with complex emotions and forming independent opinions. For some, it was a liberating experience, a chance to break free from the shackles of conformity and embrace the fullness of their individuality. They reveled in the freedom to question, to dissent, to forge their own paths without the constraints of the collective. But for others, the sudden surge of individuality was a source of anxiety and fear. Accustomed to the comforting embrace of conformity, they struggled to navigate the complexities of a world without clear-cut answers. The absence of a collective moral compass left them feeling lost and vulnerable, easy prey for demagogues and charlatans who promised to restore order amidst the chaos. The task of rebuilding society, it became clear, would involve more than just bricks and mortar. It would require the reconstruction of the human psyche itself.